Hey guys, I'm going to show you some stuff with custom brushes here today. So I've got a picture of a grubby old door that I found, and I usually do this. I usually put two adjustment layers on this thing. I put a black and white one, because all brushes are black and white, they're grayscale. Black becomes the color that's in your foreground color. And so I throw that black and white on there. I can adjust those colors a little bit if I want. Red's going to do some different things, but I'm mostly after this stuff up here and this stuff down here. And then I'm also going to throw another adjustment on there, and this one I like curves. So I also want a really high contrast to make a brush. So I want to have a scene that pretty much looks like it has black and white, not a bunch of other grays and other things in there. So I got this curves going, and what I like about curves, I mean, you can see that if I grab this here, start pulling this around, I can affect a lot of change quickly to this thing. And then standard within curves is just a straight diagonal. But what I like more is, and I should say, go this way too, you can pull this up. That actually is getting some good contrast already, and I could pull this in. This is just squashing our black point and our white point together. But I also like these eyedroppers. So if I click on an area that's white, it's going to make that area and everything whiter than that white. And so actually if I go ahead and click on something that's light gray, I can make that white. And then I also have this black point, so I could click on something that's black. Ooh, yeah, I like that. That amount of texture there is really nice. In fact, let's zoom out a little bit and see what we got here. Yeah, so I'm gonna capture some of this goodness up here. All right, but first, within my layer panel here, notice I'm going to go down to background and make sure I'm selected on background. That's important. And then I'm going to choose a selection tool, and any of these will work. But what I like the most is this Polygon Lasso. And so I'm just going to go out here and start. You notice that it's making corners wherever I'm clicking, straight lines in between. I'm just making some kind of globby kind of shape like that. And I like to do this select and mask as a good habit. Now that's a little bit sharp, so I'm going to use this feathering technique here. Feather, pull that up a bit. Well, maybe a little bit too much, but not bad, because I want to really hide those edges. And so anytime I want to hide an edge or blend things together, that's a good way to do it. Now, it's hard to see, but I do have that selection still going there. And so the next step is I'm going to go edit, and this one, define brush preset, and then I'm give it a name. I'll see, truck texture, and say okay. And then notice, look, check this out. I've already got this brush. It just gave it to me already, and so I want to get a new area here to play with this thing. So I'm going to go Photo File, New, and then just go to Create, because I just want something. I don't really care what. And of course, it's going to whichever color I have in my foreground color is going to be the color that this new brush, and I'm just stamping down here to get that in here. But you do notice a little bit of overlap there, and it starts to get weird. So I like to always have this brush settings open, and this is always available under Window and under Brushes. And Brush Settings has this ability here. I mean, it has a bunch of stuff, tons of stuff. But one of the things is it has this crosshair, and you can rotate your brush so that you can stamp it without being too obvious. And then, of course, if you change color, so if I click on this, I could do, what do I want? Some green texture. I could do that. There we go, some green moss going on in there too. And maybe need to rotate that some more. Of course, we have our size slider here, but I really like the bracket keys on the keyboard, and so you can pretty quickly make your brush bigger or smaller using those keys. I think that's a really good habit to get into. And there's that. So let me get rid of a couple of these things here. Just kind of organizing my workspace a little bit so it's not too much stuff to look at. Okay, but let's see. I do want my layers panel back open, and I want to do, I'm going to add a new layer, but it's going to be a text layer. So I'm going to go text. Actually, I don't need to add, I realized I don't need to add a new layer because it's just going to do it for me as I do this. So I go horizontal type tool. I'm going to open a big box here. And it's waiting for me. And I'm going to type my, oh, there we go. Now I'm going to type my name, D-O-N. And I've already got this font that's a pretty thick font because we're going to do some distressing. We're going to wear this thing out a little bit. But if you want to adjust yours, go up to the top here, and it doesn't have to be the same font. Just find a font that has a nice big, some thickness on it. Like maybe I'll try it with this one this time. And so yeah, there's my name, but maybe this is a shirt. I made a camp or something. I don't know. I'm going to just add a little bit of extra distress to this text by adding a mask to this text layer. So I'm just going to, this is my mask tool down here. Go click. And then on that mask, I'm going to draw with my texture brush that I just worked with here. So I'm going to go back to my brush tool. Got my texture brush here, and I'm working in black, but the weird thing is it's going to show up in white because it's hiding. Black hides things. So watch, I could hide more of it if I kept going over it like this. I could hide like almost all of it. Then maybe I'll use my bracket keys to get a smaller brush to do some other stuff here. And one of the things that's cool about this is that if I go back to my type tool here, even though I've worn this thing practically out, I can still select it as type and change things. Like, so if they were like, well, my name's actually Dan, not Dawn, I could go in there and change that really easily, and no problem. And if I decide, well, boy, you really went a little bit deep with that texturing, you can just go back to that mask again and get with white now, which I do by clicking that one, flipping that over. There we go. And then with a brush, probably the same one, but you could use a different one if you want. You could start clicking and adding back. Maybe I go a little smaller and get a little back in the middle there or something. And so that's creating a custom texture brush, working a little bit with fonts, working with brushes on masks, and making a quick little project. So good luck. Hopefully that works for you. Let me know, and we'll talk soon.